I'm Tay, and I'm happy you're here today. Since we're wrapping up 2021, I'm going to take you along with me as I made a 2022 vision board. And I'm just going to be going through how I decided what was going to go on it and how I picked my goals for the year. And I've tried making vision boards in the past and they haven't really worked for me. So I went about it in a completely different way this year to see if it actually helps. And I actually have it all printed out and completed. And so let's get into it. So in this video, I'm not going to go through how I actually put this board together. This video is just going to be how I decided what to put on it. And then I think I'm going to do another video where I actually walk through how I made this. I used Pinterest and Canva to make this, and it was super easy, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. But that's not what this video is. So, like I said before, I've tried vision boards. I guess you could say they weren't technically vision boards because I've never actually printed them out before, which I guess is probably my first problem. But typically what I've done in the past is I've really just gotten on Pinterest. I've created a vision board on Pinterest, thrown images that I like in there, and then called it good, and then never really looked at it again, and then, wonder why it doesn't work. So this year I wanted to be a little bit more intentional about it and really just wanted to give it a go and see if I could find one that was a little bit more useful for me. For those of you who are sitting here wondering why I'm talking about a vision board and you really have no idea what a vision board is, it is just a visual representation of the things that you want. So like your goals and your dreams and things that you would like to bring into your life or to focus on. And in the past, I've looked at images for a vision board right around New Year's time, just so you get a fresh start on the new year. It's when everybody's setting new goals and what they want out of the next year. So when you put it in a vision board, it just is supposed to give you a printed, something that you can look at all the time that keeps your goals at the forefront of your mind so that you can really focus on them and try to bring all of the things that you want into your life in the new coming year or however often you decide to make these. So one thing that I've learned over the past year is that you really need to be a lot more specific and intentional with your goals than I've actually been in the past. So instead of saying this year I want to, make a lot of money. Instead of saying that, you would say okay, this year I want to make $80,000 or have an actual number to it. And that will make it a lot more of a reality, and you need to have your goals be things that are actually attainable and realistic for you, and they really need to be things that you really want in your life. And so this year I was really thoughtful and intentional in the items that I picked, and we will go into that a little bit more, but in the past I've kind of been a little bit this year I want to go all out on fitness, or I want to go all out on travel, and I want to travel the world and blah, blah, blah. And, in 1 year's time where I'm at in my life now, that's not realistic. And I'm not saying that I will never be able to do that. I'm just saying that that's like going from 0 to 100, and really you need to be able to have the steps to get to where you're going. And so that is what I did this year, is I went to where I needed to make the first steps to what I wanted. That way my goals would be able to be something that I could accomplish and not just something that's like a pipe dream. So that said, the way that I went about it this year is that I broke my goals for the year down into different categories. And the way that I typically break my life down is I do personal things, my work stuff, and then small town envy stuff. Those are the 3 categories that I always have a running to-do list for. And even though in my past video I said that I treated small town envy as a business, it is very much so separate from my career, and so I do keep those categories separate. So after I broke it down into those 3 categories, I then took the personal category and I broke that down into 6 subcategories. Now those 6 subcategories are health, home, travel, finances, friends and family, and personal growth. Now, once we get into those 6 categories, that is where we really get into the meat of what is on my vision board. So for the sake of this video, I actually typed up all of the categories that I was focusing on, as well as goals that I had within each category. So I actually did this in Notion because I'm a huge nerd, and so I have a lot of life things in Notion, and for those of you who don't know what it is, that's not important for this video. As you can see here, I broke it down into the 3 categories: personal, small town envy, and then my 9 to 5 job. And then within personal, I have the 6 different subcategories. Now, the first one, like I said, is health, and I lumped all of health together. So body, mind, and soul are all together, and I picked 1 or 2 things that I wanted to focus on within each of those 3 categories. So if we go into there, my new goals for my body is I would want to eat better, I want to drink more water, and I want to spend more time outside. So as much as I would love to say that like in the new year I'm going to start working out, I hate working out, and so I am very tired of making that a New Year's resolution that I know that I'm not going to actually stick to. So instead, I'm going to spend more time outside, because when I spend more time outside, that in turn I get more steps and my body is moving more, and that's just a lot more attainable to me than saying like I'm going to start working out every day, because I just know that's not going to happen, at least not right now. And then eating better is just something I really need to start doing. My diet has gotten absolutely terrible. So then healthy mind, I really want to look into the future with a do it anyway mentality. And by that I mean, like, even though it makes me nervous to do things, or I may be scared to do things, just go ahead and do it anyway. And I really need to realize that there's a lot of things that are out of my control and there's nothing I can do about it. And so I need to stop worrying so much and just do the dang thing. And so that is my approach to this year. And then also, I want to have more unplugged time. Hold on, my baby is tired. She is skipping her nap, which has not been a good situation. But anyways, unplugged time. I really just want to have intentional time with my family and friends, and even really just myself, so that I'm just not always looking at my phone or my computer and all that, because I've noticed that there's times that, you know, I'm having conversations with people and I'm just so focused on the Instagram thing that I'm looking at, or on Pinterest, or whatever the thing may be, that I'm just not really present with whoever I'm with, and I just really want to get better at doing that. And then soul, this year I would like to intentionally spend more time in the Bible and also pray more. Those are just 2 different things that I really need to bring into my routine a little bit more. So then in the next category, which is home, inside. Now, I did home as solely like my physical house, my physical property. If you want to do home as like your house and like the people that who live with you, or however you want to do this, you can, but I did just do mine, just physical house. So inside my house, I really want to get better at living in a house that's always ready for company. I have a bad habit of being a lazy housekeeper, and then when I find out that people are coming, I'm like frantically like throwing things in closets and trying to clean my house. And I really want to live in a way that when somebody says, hey, I'm gonna stop by, that doesn't give me crazy anxiety about the state of my house. And so that's a goal that I have for this next year. But I also have a note on here. Hi. Hi, you. Come here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you see that baby? Look at that baby. Do you see it? Can you say hi? Good job. What's that? That's Mommy's vision board. That's what I'm talking about. That's a light. My phone. It's my phone. You can go Dada and have bites. Oh, he made you some yummy toast. Bye-bye. I see you later. So I also have a note in there that I have a bad habit of thinking that your house should look like people don't live there. And I think that that's like when you look on Pinterest and see these like picture perfect houses, like it's just been ingrained in me that that's normal, and it's really not. So I need to always be ready for company. However, I need to accept that my house is going to look like people live here because people live here. So yes. Inside, I also want to be more intentional with the things that I have in my house. And by saying that, I mean decor and just all the crap that I have everywhere. If I don't love it, it needs to go. If I don't love it, I shouldn't buy it. If it's not something that I really need or is going to be really useful, I just don't need it. I don't want to bring it here. And I have a note written in my planner from last year that says, if you don't want to always be cleaning, quit buying crap. And so I'm trying to be a little more intentional with what I bring into my house because clearly I'm trying to tell myself something. On the outside, I would like to enjoy the fact that I live in an old farmhouse on 3 acres with a barn, and I want to get animals and just kind of have a little bit more of like a homesteading life. I had a garden last year, really loved it, and I don't obviously want to go like all crazy, like grow my own food to support us like through the whole winter and all that. Like I just am not there yet. However, I do want to like hobby farm a little bit and can you hobby homestead? I want a hobby homestead. That's what I want to do. And so that's my goal for outside. And then also we're going to put a fence up, and I want to get some goats this year. I had goats when I was growing up and loved them. So that's something that I would like to do here. Super excited about it, by the way. And so then the next category, travel. Now this is one that in the past has been all crazy with places that I want to go. And this year, honestly, I just want to go to a beach. And not an ocean beach, just any beach that's warm. We've been to the beach this year, but it was too late in the year, so it was kind of cold. And so I really just want to go to a beach and lay on the beach and just sunbathe for a little while. And that's really the only traveling that I want to do this year. Everything else, I really just want to like stay home and be with my family and all that jazz. So finances wise, this is going to be a year of savings for us. I really want to focus on learning how to budget. Like I obviously know how to budget, but I don't know. It's not even that I don't know. I don't have the discipline to follow the budget that I've been setting. And so this year I'm really going to focus on sticking to the budgets that I set for myself. And then also we have some debts that we are trying to pay off, and we really just want to pay off a lot of that this year. And along those same lines, we also want to beef up our savings. Like I said, we live in a really old farmhouse, and there's just some things that we believe we are going to have to be replacing here shortly. And so I don't want to be completely caught off guard money-wise when we need to replace that. The next category is friends and family. This year I want to spend more time talking to friends, and that is in person and texts and calls. I don't do a very good job at seeing my friends in person, and then I also don't really do very good at keeping up with them with texts and phone calls. And I just am really at a point in my life where I want to bring those friendships a lot closer. I have in the past blamed not having time off to hang out with friends just on busyness and all that, but the reality is that I just don't make time. And this year I really want to make the time, even if it's just like, hey, can I call you for like 5 minutes, let's catch up, or like, hey, let's go grab a coffee, things like that. Also, I really want to have family dinners. Now, we have been eating dinner as our household family for a long time because of Aurora. She sits at the table. We sit at the table with her. It's great. But we also have been talking about for a long time having like a weekly family dinner with like my parents and then some really close friends of ours that are basically like family. And I really would like to get to a place where we're having those. And I really want to surround myself with the people that I love this year and just be very intentional with my time for them. And then the third thing is I've actually decided that I want to curate a mom group, Bible study group for myself. I'm not really sure what that looks like because I just know that it's something that I'm really craving in my life. I've always had, really close friends. I still have close friends, but none of my friends hang out with each other. And so I'm constantly feeling like, I don't hang out with them very often because I'm always hanging out with them one at a time. And I would love to hang out with like a group of women that I'm really close with, and then we could all hang out together. And then I could see them more often because we're all hanging out together. And I'm not saying that needs to be a whole new group of people. Obviously, I would love if my close friends all became friends. But I just don't know what that looks like yet. But it's something that I'm really hoping that I can put together this year. And the very last category is personal growth. Now, in this category, I really just want to, this is just stuff that is just like habits or things that I want. Like, this is just for me. And they're not super crazy things or things that are really out there. But the very first thing is I really like to learn something new every day. And I'm not saying that even needs to be anything crazy. Like today, I learned how to screen record so that I could record this video. It took like 4 minutes, but I learned how to do it. And that's something new. So I'm not saying I need to like listen to a podcast or like read a nonfiction book about something crazy that I'll remember forever. I mean, it could be anything small, but I just want to constantly be using my brain and learning new things and just getting new skills. The next is I want to stop being a procrastinator because I'm really bad at that, and it's just not doing me any favors, especially as I'm trying to do all of this small town envy stuff because I waste a ton of time, and then I need to get better at time management, and to stop procrastinating is the first step of that. The next is I want to get back into reading every day. I mean, obviously you can tell my husband and I have a lot of books. There's actually like a whole like 2 shelves above this one that you guys can't see. It goes over the door and everything, but I have gotten out of the habit of reading. I think I read like 3 books this year, and that's just not a lot because I read 2 of the 3 while I was on maternity leave. So since I went back to work, I read 1 book all year, and I really need to get back into reading. 1, because I love it, and 2, because I want to keep buying books. And the last thing I just have listed: classy, feminine, sophisticated, and elegant. And that is not really anything that I'm changing. It's just those are 4 words that I like to think about when it's the way that I carry myself and the way that I present myself to the world. And I don't mean like wearing fancy clothes and all the fancy jewelry and like being all crazy, but it's more of like a lifestyle of how I represent myself in public, and those are just some words that like I would love if that's how people describe me to other people. And so those are on the list just because I want to keep that in mind at all times when I'm presenting myself in public or just the way that I act. Now, that's everything in the personal category. So then we get down into the small town envy category. So those goals are, I say simple, but the first one is I want to get YouTube monetized on YouTube this year. I would love to get accepted into an affiliate program of some sort so that I can start making some money. And the third is that I want to come out with my first printable or product. And I have a list of what those items might be, but I haven't gotten any of them out. So that is going to be a focus. The other thing is actually off of YouTube, but I want to be more consistent on my blog, website, and Instagram. And then the last category is my actual job, and I'm actually going to choose to keep those to myself. Sorry, guys. But that is how I broke down my goals for the year. So once I had those all written down. I went through, and for each of those goals, I found 1 or 2 pictures on Pinterest that resonated with those goals. And so I will actually show you. I will just scroll through what the board as a whole looks like. I will also mention that not everything that made the Pinterest board made it to the physical board. I had everything on there, and I really just had too many things on there that it just didn't really even mean anything, because it was so cluttered that you couldn't even tell what it was. So if you go through, I mean, you can see like drinking water and eating healthy. These pictures right here are meaning like being intentional with my daughter. And here's some goats because I'm super excited about them. I want to grow some sunflowers this year. I really want to spend more time outside at our pool this year. This is just, like spending more time on my Bible, finding a group of women who I can study the Bible and pray with, and just some quotes that I like. This is editing YouTube. I mean, I really was very specific on what I wanted these images to look like. And once I had them here, I exported them, I organized them. I ended up with this board. Now, as you can see, a lot of the images that I just scrolled through are on here. Then across the top, I put the word intentional. And I have had, for the last 3 years, I've had like a word of the year. And as I was going through all of my goals, I realized that being intentional was just really what I wanted to focus on this year. Being intentional, with my friends and family, being intentional with my time in my job, and just really focusing on that. I mean, the last couple years have kind of shown that things can change in the blink of an eye, and I just want to be intentional with the time that me and my loved ones are given. And I just don't necessarily think that I have been doing that as well as I can. And so that this year I'm really going to focus on trying to do better. So now that I have this, I have it printed and I framed it, and I'm actually just going to keep it on my desk. I also use Canva to make it a phone wallpaper, so it is now my phone wallpaper. And so not only will I keep looking at those goals because I have them in front of me, but I also will just have the images just so that I'll just be reminded all the time of the things that I want to work towards in the new coming year. Now, I do want to make a disclaimer with 2 different things with what I've went through today. The first is that just because it's not on your vision board doesn't mean that it's not something you can work towards. I actually did not end up putting anything with my 9-to-5 job on this vision board. But that doesn't mean that there's not certain goals with that and with my job that I'm going to be working towards this year. It just means that it's not necessarily something that I need to have thrown in my face all the time. The second thing is that just because it is on your vision board also doesn't mean that you can't change your mind. So a year doesn't seem like a long time, but a year is a long time. And so if 2 months from now, 3 months from now, you're like, man, I was really working towards this, but I really don't like it, change it. Do something different. I mean, you're allowed to change your mind, and you're allowed to make a new board or not make a board at all, or do all the things that you want to do. If you are making a vision board, I would love to hear what you're putting on your vision board in the comments below. And also, if you really like this video, I would watch this one next. All right, I'll see you next time.